One play at a third time. So let's not focus on the great game. Let's focus on the great play. Let's play with passion. Let's play with love. Let's play with responsibility. Let's play with respect for one another.
How you feel? How you feel?
Good. Morning. I don't want you to focus on, because if I ask you right now, do you want to have a great game? All y'all will say yes, right? I want you to focus on, I want to have a great play. I want to have a great play. Then the next play, I want to have.
We are back with another episode of Inside the Locker Room, and it's week 7. And man, it's already off to a crazy one. Michael, what are your thoughts? Grambling State, Texas Southern. You know, we said this was an important game that Grambling had to win, and unfortunately, they did not come out with the win. But I mean, no, actually, there is no but. Grambling, I'm gonna let you get the mic first.
Nope. There is no but. There is no buts here. I am I'm just beyond frustrated at this point. And I think all Grand fam can agree with me on this. It just seems like this team, I don't know. Like, it's not even it's the team, and it's Mickey Joseph in general. You had the bye week to fix your problems. Special teams literally helped Grambling story of the game. I have never seen so many kickoff returns in one game. I mean, one was called back.
Michael, you know what I've never seen so many before? Turnovers.
I know, and I'm just going to get to that. How can you get the ball at the goal line and it's the same fumble issue?
Wait, hold up. Look, I'm going to say this. Because speaking of goal line, and we're probably going to talk about this later, why do you go for a 2-point conversion in the first quarter?
I never understood that, Deuce. I literally just watched highlight on that.
Why?
You literally scored the first points of the game. I have never in my life seen a coach go for 2 and you score first in the game. And not only that, you don't convert. Because now it hurts you throughout the game.
And I like how you mentioned, Michael, it makes no sense. And we're going to keep talking about Mickey Joseph for a little bit. But I love how you mentioned turnovers, because before we talk about Mickey Joseph, which is probably the main topic, them turnovers in my defense, I think it was just them turnovers lost Grambling the game.
It was.
I honestly, full-heartedly, I think Texas Southern was an even matchup. If not, I think Grambling was a better team. You know, last year we talked about how Grambling beat Jackson State off of defensive turnovers. And you know that I think this is the same scenario. I think Texas Southern, they weren't much better than Graham, if at all. And I'm not trying to have no disrespect to any Texas Southern alumni or any Texas Southern students watching. I respect y'all's program, but honestly, I just think that Grambling was a better team, and they lost this game themselves. You know, 3 turnovers. One was in the I know one for sure was in the red zone.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. And now you put yourself in a hole that's about to be hard to come back from. Because now you have 2 teams in the SWAC West that have the tiebreaker over you, which is Texas Southern and Prairie View. And we know Prairie View is playing how they're playing right now. They're winning games. Texas Southern has a tiebreaker over you, and they can easily go and beat a team like UAPB, Alcorn, and Southern, because right now those are the 3 other weak teams in that conference, or in that division.
Yep.
But Mickey Joseph, we saw his flaws last year, Michael, and we talked about it at the start of the season. We said, look, maybe he had this time to fix it. He's going to come in with a new mindset. And we thought after week 1, okay, we have it fixed.
Yeah.
2 went by. We already knew, we knew it wasn't. We gave him the pass because it was Ohio State. Week 3 went by and they barely won. But we said, you know what, Mickey Joseph, this your first game at home. It was just they caught you off guard. Y'all probably weren't prepared. Week 2 went by. It happened again. Michael, this time we finally said, what is going on with Mickey Joseph? We started raising the questions around Cotton Bowl. And we said Mickey Joseph has to win at the Cotton Bowl. He didn't win. Michael, you know, there was some grace to me to give him one more chance, and we said he got to go win at homecoming. Make the alumni proud. He didn't do that either. Me as a Grambling student, and I know people around me, and I know you can even agree, he don't need to be the head coach no more.
He's not the right fit. He's not the fit anymore. And it's just
crazy. I think Grambling is so stuck on, they won't go for these big. Ed Reed was a coach I wanted to see at Grambling.
He literally was going to get the coaching job.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I think it was when I think it was what he said about Bethune-Cookman that made the athletic Travion Scott not get him, because Travion Scott said he was going to get him. He was going to get him. But the question still is in my head, regardless of what he said about Bethune-Cookman, that don't mean he was going to say the same thing about Grambling. Because let's be honest, Grambling's facility, it was, if you remember the audio and the videos that Ed Reed was showing, Grambling's athletic facility was way better than Bethune-Cookman. Ed Reed even said, I even met Ed Reed, Deuce. I met Ed Reed when I was working in Ruston. He literally told me that I was willing and was ready to take on the head coaching job. Deuce, I couldn't do nothing but shake my head. I didn't know what to tell him. But you can see the disappointment on his face. Ed Reed wanted to be the head coach at Grambling.
I think the Grambling football in general, I just think they want to win, but they don't have the tools. Really, I don't think they have the tools to win right now. And I'm not saying this like in a player standpoint, because I think the players have it, but I think it's an all around thing. Like the coaching could be better, play calling could be better. Grambling does need some better players. And like, I know we're talking down on Grambling a lot. We try not to, because we're fans of them. But when it comes down to it, we want to see what's best for the team. And I'm gonna speak the honest truth about how I feel about the team. And right now, they're just making me disappointed. Michael, we've been said they should have really been like 1-5, 1-4, whatever record that is. We said they got lucky them other two games, and we said maybe, just maybe, they'll do something so they don't come into SWAC play with teams that are on their level. You're already almost about to lose to smaller schools. That's not a good look.
Yeah, I know. But, and that's the thing with me. And we noticed this, Deuce. We noticed this kind of like after the Ohio State game, going into playing East Texas Commerce, going into playing Eastern Kentucky. We knew what was finna happen towards this Grambling team, and the Cotton Bowl justified that. Then you come into the homecoming game, and Deuce, we said this: there is no excuse for you to lose this game, even though Texas Southern is at the same level as you. But if you just look at how the game went, Grambling could have won this game, but you have 4 turnovers, and the first 3 were in the red zone. I mean, I don't understand how hard it is for a quarterback to give the ball. There was so many mishaps on the handoff. It makes no sense. That studied in practice, and it happened 2 straight times.
Like, literally, Texas Southern, I promise you, they did not do anything out of the blue that would be like, okay, we're the true dominant team. Like how, for instance, Jackson State would. Bro.
Grambling defense.
Look, Grambling defense played a huge part. But that offense, too many turnovers. Too many. And look, I'm going to say this. You could tell, we talk about T-Set a lot. He did come in at the end of the game. I wasn't really Mickey, we'll talk about his comments in a second. Yeah. But, Ashton Fry was playing, and I thought, look, aside from that turnover, he could have got the job done.
Yeah. But
what I really think is when that third string came in, he looked like he just didn't want it. He looked like he was scared, in my opinion.
Well, first of all, he did look scared. And then second of all, he was a freshman. He ain't never started. He ain't never been in live game action. But at the same time, it's just like, I mean, Fry would have never gotten hurt if that fumble would have never happened. Now it's probably getting to a point where Fry could be out for the season because he was holding his shoulder, Deuce. That's not a good look. I don't know what.
T said is. I don't know if T said still hurt or what. because he did was before the game. He was in a walking boot. He was in street clothes, and Mickey Joseph. He said, "Look, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna play." Like Mickey Joseph, let him play, right?
And he literally almost like got Grambling back on the right track.
Yes,
Come back, but again, the turnovers. It makes no sense. Grambling, I'm telling you, the score could have been a whole lot worse. Instead of it being 21-20, Deuce, it could have been what 31-20 or what 35-20. The point is, Grambling lost this game because opportunities for turn. That is the main point here. Defense did everything they could. Yeah, they gave some big plays. Yeah. But I mean, what can you expect? The defense literally was trying to hold their end of the bargain. They got sacks. They got turnovers. They were literally doing everything that they were supposed to do. They kept Texas Southern from scoring on that last previous drive. But of course, Grambling got the ball back. What happened? Turn the ball over. And then Texas Southern just ran the clock out. I mean, it's nothing much you can really expect from the Grambling defense. Yes, they struggled, and they had some things to struggle too, but the defense wasn't the main problem in the game. The special teams wasn't the main problem in this game. Okay? And first of all, I'm going to give a shout out to the returners. They ran.
Oh, yeah. Amazing.
Ever seen. That was the prettiest thing I ever seen. Regardless of that penalty, though. You got to clean that up, though. Because I'm telling you, if that kickoff return was not called back, Grambling would have probably won this game.
I think this. Overall, penalties, turnovers, and Mickey Joseph lost Grambling this game.
Yep.
I like Grambling how they were moving the ball. Trey Bradford, he looked nice. Tyson George looked nice as always. Grambling, their offensive players came to play, but these turnovers, man.
Yeah, I know.
These turnovers hurt them.
It's pathetic to me. It's pathetic to me because it was the same old fumble. It was like mishaps on, handing the football off, and it's just like you practiced that. You practiced that. You had the bye week to fix all these problems, and in this game here against Texas Southern, you didn't do that because I mean it's no excuse for you to lose this game, and it's poor coaching. First of all, it's poor coaching by Mickey Joseph. It's poor coaching by the coaching staff. And you talk about we need to control, take care of the little things and stuff like that. It doesn't matter if it was little things or small things. The point is your coaching is just not it. It's just not it. And I know Grambling, Louisiana, I know Grambling students can agree with me on this because it's the same. It was like almost the same thing, but only it was different this time because the defense actually fixed their problems a little bit. The special teams definitely fixed their problems, but it's the offense once again that just did not do it. You ran the ball well. I give you that. I gotta give you the benefit of that. You ran the ball well. You passed the ball. You actually passed the ball this time. You changed some things, but the one thing you did not change was how to hand the ball off and take care of the darn ball. That's the thing here. And I just feel like, Deuce, at this point, it's just like, I mean, you kind of just have to just see how this season goes. Because
Michael, I hate to say, but this, like I said before, Michael, this season was already reminding me of last season, but worse.
Yeah.
I kind of have like no faith in Grambling no more. I see them probably winning 2 more games, and I could be wrong. But right now, I really have I'm at a loss for words for this team.
I'm not lost for words. I can go on and on with this. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Mickey Joseph just not it. He's not it. He's not it. And I think now, if I'm the athletic director, Travian Scott, it's time. I think it's to be searching for another coach.
Me too.
So I can list you 3 coaches right now that you can get. Watch this. 1, right? 2, Ed Reed again, and then 3. Now this one right here, Deuce. Bring Coach O in. He said he want to coach again.
It may be a long shot, but you never know until you try.
It ain't. Coach O even said himself that he wants to coach again. Bring him to HBCU. I guarantee you, bring Coach O, who is a great coach to me. Bring him down here to HBCU. Bring him here. And I guarantee you, Deuce, you will not regret that decision because Coach O knows how to coach. And he knows how to get the coaching staff to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
I have to remind you how it was at LSU. He has to coach a resume. The man been coaching for a long time. So, I mean, at this point, those are your three options. But the question is, will Travion Scott actually do some research and go interview these guys and get them? I wouldn't even matter if you bring Ray Lewis. Because to be honest with you, I think Ray Lewis, first of all, he's a teacher, he's a coach, and he's a motivator. You bring all that in, Ray Lewis knows the game because I feel like Ray Lewis, even at his age, he's still hungry. He's still hungry, and he hadn't lost anything. I just seen a clip of him when he was, it was something that had something to do with the Baltimore Ravens game. He still shows that energy. So you bring that energy into Grambling, imagine what that will do. I don't care about the fame. I'm not even talking about none of that. Fame ain't got nothing to do with this no more. What I'm saying is you bring a Hall of Fame in, that adds coaching experience, that adds better recruit, that adds better coaching staff. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like where I just feel like the Grambling football as a whole is going downhill, and I feel like it's going to get worse.
They're on par for another bad season.
Grambling's not being Jackson State. Let's just go on here and just say that right now. Grambling's not being Jackson State. It's just not. It's not. And I don't care about, it's too soon to say no, it ain't. If you see how this team is, if you see how Mickey Joseph's coaching right now, this will tell you we're not beating Jackson State. We're not doing it. We don't have we don't have it.
Michael, speaking of Jackson State, look, and I'm gonna say this for my closing remark on Graham. Get it together. Simple. Just get it together. Y'all, you got an alumni who come to actually support, and y'all are disappointing them. But speaking of Jackson State, we said it was gonna come down to whoever had the last possession. It did come down to at the last possession, but the Jackson State defense stepped up and stopped Andrew Body.
Yep.
Right at the 1 yard line or 2 yard line. They were close with 1 second left. That game of the year, Michael, we were talking about it, and it lived up to our expectations. I can't remember. I know we were pretty close with the score. I think we said like 32-35 or 32-36. We were in that close range. So, I mean, I give us the props. But Andrew Body, before we talk about Jackson State, Andrew Body played lights out. Lights out. He played phenomenal. Phenomenal.
He did. But I mean, is it a surprise? We knew that he was. I knew that Andrew Body was going to ball. I mean, he's just that skilled NFL prospect quarterback. That's just, to me, he's going to ball whether you like it or not. He's going to ball whether you think he's balling or not. And I can say this for a fact. Andrew Body did exactly what he came to do. Despite
that was his best game of all season. 20 passes for 30 attempts, 349 yards, 1 touchdown. Sadly, 1 interception, but how can you blame him? Jackson State defense is amazing.
Yeah. Jackson
State, we talk about their defense so much. And they never prove us wrong. But
you want to know what Alabama State did that I told you that they said they were going to need to do? They were going to have to find wrinkles to get around Jackson State defense. And they did that.
I think Jackson State defense, they just stepped up at the end of the game. The final play, Jackson State's defense, I think they gave it their all, and they got that stop.
They did.
And that defense is nothing to play with.
I mean, this game, this is, like you said, this is the game. This was the game of the year. Alabama State offense literally found wrinkles within Jackson State defense. As how dominant they are, they were able to find wrinkles. They were able to get 34 points. Okay, I guarantee if I look at Jackson State's schedule right now, Outside of the Miss, no other team has been able to score over 30+ points. Okay, over 30 points against this Jackson State defense. And then not only that, Alabama State was able to get 2 turnovers on Jackson State. But as dominant as Jackson State is, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you kind of have to give both teams benefit of doubt. They both played lights out. But we did say, Deuce, what did we say last week? Home field advantage was going to be the key. Jackson State, I told you, they brought the energy. They was loud, bro. I've seen so many blue flags. It was crazy, bro. Like, like this game here was electrifying, and I loved it. I watched this game more than I watched Grambling game. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I don't even blame you. I really don't blame you.
Man, I mean, it was so crazy. And then, like, I'm not even gonna lie. On that last play, Deuce, I feel like the officials cheated Jackson State a little bit because they stopped Alabama State receiver at the 1 or 2 yard line. And they basically said add 1 second left on the clock. I'm like, wait, what? And then if you look at the replay, it was like, that game is over with. Why would you add 1 second back on the clock? And even TC Taylor, I'm just saying, like, I don't know about that. I'm not trying to be biased. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that, you know, I mean, they did stop them, you know, inside. They didn't step out of bounds, you know. So I'm thinking, in my opinion, that if a player goes down, the clock should keep running. I mean, I don't really know unless the referee wanted to do something differently. I don't know, but I just think adding 1 second to the clock to give Alabama State a chance was kind of crazy to me. And I'm not saying that, oh, you know what, you know, you ain't saying, no, I'm not. I'm just saying, if you look at the game in general, they added 1 second on the clock was just kind of like, what? Even the commentators was like, I don't know about that. Like, that clock should have just kept running. But I mean, you know, of course, once again, it's kind of hard to run on Jackson State defense, and you know, Alabama State could have won that game.
They could have won. It could have went both ways, in my opinion, but ultimately went Jackson State's way.
Yeah.
But one player I do want to speak about. Our player of the game.
I feel like
our player of the game, Jacobian Morgan. Yes, Andrew Body did play an amazing game, but you got to give it to the man. Look, you got to give it to him. Look, he's been playing lights out all season. We spoke good about him highly from last season. He comes into this season. He continues to dominate. He has done a lot for Jackson State. You know, Shador did a lot. Shador Sanders did a lot. Jacobian Morgan has done a lot for this program.
Yep.
A lot more than you think. He's you know, look, the stats may look low a little bit. They may look a little bit low. But Michael, you watched the game. What is some things that just stood out to you?
There are those who say the modern world has made us.
You know, I mean, Morgan proved what he's constantly been proving week after week, is that he is the potential starting quarterback for Jackson State. Deuce, he threw for 16 to 23, 4 touchdowns, and despite that 1 interception, Deuce, and even the stats he was saying on there, even though the numbers look low, it doesn't matter. The point is, he balled out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just saw how that game went, Deuce, that man was hungry to win this game. There was no way that Morgan was going to lose this game. There were times he was frustrated. That Morgan has that hunger mentality. And I just feel like it's only going to get better and better to where it's going to lead Jackson State in the SWAC championship again. And it's going to cause it. I wouldn't even be surprised Jackson State won the Celebration Bowl this year. I wouldn't, because Jacobian Morgan is that guy.
He He played amazing last year, and he's only continuing to play better.
He's that guy, and then you cannot forget about one of my guys who ran the ball with eliteness. He ran the ball with eliteness. Travis Terrell Jr. You can't sit here and not tell me that he did not ball out. Deuce, there were times that Alabama State just could not contain him. Now in the second half, they picked up on it. But Terrell ran for 77 yards, Deuce, on 17 carries. He might not get a touchdown, but he was a big factor in Jackson State offense. And, and another thing, Jackson has proved time and time again that they are that offense. They are that offense. If you don't have a good passing game defense, you're not beating Jackson State. You're not. If you don't have a good running game defense, you're not beating Jackson State. You're not beating Jackson State. And it's just at that point. So now where the question remains, no one else besides Alabama State could compete with Jackson State. And Jackson State has proved that, you got to give credit to Alabama State. They play ball. They play lights out. Eddie Robinson, he coached them guys well. He got them prepared.
Look.
Now, after this game, it's like it's all Jackson State.
Boy, Grambling better enjoy that trip to Vegas because Jackson. Oh my gosh! But hey, we will. I'll be in Las Vegas. I'll be at the game. But boy,
man, I'm telling you,
I want Graham to win. I want the alumni to go out and support. I want Grambling to go out and support and to win. Hopefully, win the game.
I do too.
But Jackson State, that's a team you can't compete with, and they showed it this weekend against their biggest competition.
What I just said before. Jackson State is that team. Okay,
they're legit. They're literally legit, and there's a reason they're ranked in the FCS. There's a reason they're ranked. A lot of times we don't see HBCUs ranked in the top 25 for FCS. There's a reason why Jackson State's ranked. There's a reason why.
And I wonder why that is. They're just dominant. Yeah, I'm gonna let you say it, Deuce. There's a reason why they rank. And if you had to narrow it down, there's only one reason. They just hot right now. What?
And they're gonna take that to the SWAC championship. But you know who they want? You know who they won't be playing though? You know who they won't be playing? Southern. Michael, what's going on with Southern? They don't look good right now. Whether you're a fan of them, they don't look good right now. 1-5, fourth in the SWAC. Their only one was against MSVU, Mississippi Valley. But let's be real about Mississippi Valley. Their program is not the best. Sorry to the ones watching. What is going on with Southern? Michael, their alumni not happy right now. And honestly, this is gonna make for a match at the Bayou Classic because right now I think Grambling's playing better ball than them, honestly. So
they are. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not saying that because, I'm not saying that because I'm Grambling fan and stuff like that. But I'm just saying if you just look at the two teams in general, you kind of have to just admit that even though both teams are not the best, but you kind of just have to, if you really just think and just look at the two teams in general, you kind of have to also say that Grambling is just a little bit better than Southern. And, but I will say this, Grambling and Southern both have offensive struggles, without a doubt. Poor red zone performance, high turnover rate. Okay. Offensive coordinator change. Like it's a lot of misconception going on with Southern, and it's just kind of like the struggle is real. And it's just kind of like if you're a Southern fan, you're telling yourself like, okay, you just have to ride this out and just see how this season ends. And I'm pretty sure Southern's going to probably be looking at another head coach as well. Because apparently he's just not it. And it's just like at this point, I mean, only the Bayou Classic is going to determine which team is better going into that game. Because right now we can tell that Grambling is better, but what if Grambling is up choking again in the Bayou Classic and Southern just outperforms Grambling, or it could be it's you just never know. And it's just like right now, it's just like both
these teams,
both teams have similar traits.
Yes.
Offense. But like you said, Grambling is that better team just based off physicality and just based off talent-wise. And I wouldn't say coaching, but I think if you just look at the performance and the athletic level, is kind of like Grambling is just a little bit over Southern.
Yeah, but look, not trying to speak too much about Southern. What are your thoughts, on Alcorn? They just got their first win of the season. Hopefully that's gives them some momentum to finish out the season strong, not to, backtrack. They looked good, although it was a smaller school. That you still can't take away from that, Mike. And I know you said even with the smaller schools, it's about who really wants it more. Alcorn came into play.
Yeah.
But I hope to see progress for them coming for the rest of the season.
I think it will be. But it's probably going to be another test for Alcorn State because, even though they come off this win, which I am, and I said this, they were going to get their first win, and I'm actually kind of glad I was right about that. But I didn't expect the score to be the way it was. I wouldn't, but that just shows you that Alcorn is not a terrible team that just had trouble finding ways to win, and they actually found ways to win in this game, which I'm extremely grateful for them. But now it's like on to the next game. You got to carry this energy that you had against Lincoln. Now you got to carry it on to the next game and really carry it on to the rest of this season. So the question here is, how will Alcorn respond after this win? Will they continue to win and win out, or will it be the same struggles before this game? That's just what it's going to determine. And I'm actually proud of Alcorn that they took care of business at home, without a doubt. But I'm gonna backtrack just for a second. But with Southern, you cannot lose to Bethune-Cookman the way you did, and that's just
Southern. And look, Bethune-Cookman. They may look. How do I put it? They haven't always been the best team. They look better this season, but still, as a Southern program, you shouldn't lose to them. And I'm gonna say this to like a Power 5 school.
Yeah,
Penn State shouldn't lose to Northwestern if you put it like that.
Mm-hmm. But that also shows you just that how hungry Bethune-Cookman was for this game. And it also shows you that Southern has not fixed the struggles that they've constantly struggled on. So Bethune-Cookman took advantage of those struggles, and that's why the score was the way it was. Now it's up to Southern to, once again, fix those struggles, or you can continue to lose like you've been losing so far. And that's going to carry on to Bayou Classic. You don't want to lose a Bayou Classic. And I mean, you said constantly, Deuce, if it's one thing you got to know about Grambling and Southern, is that the most important game every year is the Bayou Classic. And if you lose 2 straight, if you lose 3 straight, if you win 1 and you lose 2, 9 out of 10, your job is not going to be hold on to it. You're not going to get a contract extension without a doubt.
Agreed.
So, but now I'm gonna jump forward a little bit back to Alcorn. Offensive explosion, it was there. Strong passing game, it was there. Powerful defense, it was there. So now it's just like on all 3 of those things I just listed. And I think every Alcorn State fan can agree with me on this. Now you need to carry all that you just did. And you got 2 options. You can carry that injury and win out throughout the rest of the season and then, attack the recruiting, or continue to lose like you've been doing. Then the same thing as I just said, take care of recruiting. I mean, that's really all you can say. But I'm really, really proud of how Alcorn State took care of business, and I really do hope that this game here is the turning point for the Alcorn State football program.
Me too, but it's a sad thing that, unfortunately, despite this win, the head coach is still in the hot seat because of previous weeks. But like I said, hopefully they can just take care of business and finish out the season strong. That goes for all head coaches. FAMU's head coach, Grambling's head coach, Tuskegee's head coach. So, but the one MEAC game or the two MEAC games we're talking about, I want to start with Norfolk. They just lost again. Michael, I know you're a big fan of Michael Vick. You have a lot of confidence in the man. What is your thought on, him not winning this week? And what does this loss mean just, going forward for the program? Do you think maybe, just maybe, maybe the program should start to question Michael Vick? I think you did send me a post that said, they just fired some defensive coordinators, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I see that they're already taking action, but maybe if the season keeps to go on, do they fire Michael Vick or do they give him one more shot? And then if it's after next season, is it time for him to go? But I'm gonna say this right here. I have confidence in Michael Vick. It's his first season. I can't really trip too much about what's going on. Yes, they did perform better last year, but you're still on a new head coaching regime. So he's still getting adjusted. People are still getting adjusted to new plays and et cetera,
Yeah. And that's kind of like what we talked about before. That this is his first season getting, used to how the MEAC conference. The team is getting used to his coaching ability, and you have to understand that when you bring in a Hall of Fame coach, 9 out of 10 your first season either goes well, like how Deshaun Jackson coaching is, and it's going well so far, or it can go like how Michael Vick was. But if you think back, Deion Sanders started out this way. And if I remember correctly, A. George started out this way. So now it's just really where is the team in your first? Are they decent enough to win enough games to have a winning season, but not make the conference?
I agree.
And you just, and with Delaware State, it's like if you really think about it, Delaware State was a little bit better than Norfolk State before Deshaun Jackson came and before Michael Vick came. So even though these guys are, legitimate all-time great players, but that does not take away from how the team is in general. So, it's just like you can't really give up hope on Michael Vick because this is his first year. You have to give him the benefit of the doubt because of where the team is. Now, if the second season goes the way it is, then yes. Then okay, you can start thinking like, okay, maybe we need to just decide on another coach. But you can't decide that on your first year because you can't really you can't put all the blame on him. You can't put all the blame on him because this is like I said, this is really just it's a word that I use for this. I cannot remember, but this is an observation, right? That's the word. This is an observation to see where this team is at. Are we in the good fit going into the offseason, or are we in the bad fit? And regardless of right now, Norfolk is 1-5. You're in the bad spot right now. But I will say this to all Norfolk State fans: it's not the end of the world because now you have a second season under him, and I'm pretty sure that Michael Vick is going to dominate the recruiting. He's going to get some key transfers, and he's probably going to get some key recruits. So, and by recruits, I mean high school. I mean, regardless of the defensive struggle, or third down performance, okay. Time of possession, excuse me. Defensive state. That's just the main problem with this team. But all that can be fixed in the offseason. You just kind of have to just see how this season ends.
I agree. I honestly agree.
What you have, that's just what you do. I've seen things like this before. This is not the first time I've seen a Hall of Fame player or Hall of Fame coach and his first season does not go well. You know, it's just really depends on where the team is at. So it's just like now you kind of have to do what Michael Vick's doing. You have to observe and just accept your fate.
Look, if I were him, I would already start prepping for next season. Start going ahead and game planning for next season. Finish out the season, it's the best year really, but start going ahead and looking at next season. But what I will say, Michael, did you get a chance to watch the NC or look over the NC A&T game against the SC State?
I did actually.
Just a quick rundown, you know, before we close this out, just a quick rundown and some thoughts about that. Because I know I did say last episode I want to speak more about NC North Carolina A&T, and that's what we're going to do.
Yep. Give me 1 second. I'm my screen is loading. Okay. Yeah. You know, it was the halftime deficit. You know, the Bulldogs trailed 9-0 at halftime with North Carolina A&T scoring 3 field goals in that first half, right? Mm-hmm. The turning point in that game was when South Carolina State scored all 22 of their points in the second half. Key plays. William Atkins, you know, threw 2 touchdown passes in the second half to Cyrus Ellison and Jordan Smith. I think I said Ellison's last name. Josh Shaw scored South Carolina's first touchdown on a 1-yard run, giving the Bulldogs the lead, right? NC State had a key turnover, which South Carolina State capitalized on with another touchdown. Now, defensive performance. South Carolina State defense was dominant in the second half, recording 4 sacks, Deuce, and 13 tackles for loss. And then not only that, if you go to the offensive highlights, I'm going down the list here because I wrote this down. I'm kind of glad I did because I had a feeling that, you know, we're trying to rush the time here. On offense, Mason Pickett Hicks led South Carolina State with 67 rushing yards, while Cyrus Ellison, and Jordan Smith were the top receivers. So this win brings South Carolina State record to 4-3, while North Carolina A&T dropped to 1-6. So now this game was competitive. It was close, and it was hard fought. But it's like I said, the key points to this game was the running game, and the defense for South Carolina State. North Carolina A&T could have won this game, but it was the turnovers that kind of killed them. South Carolina State won a turnover battle with only 1 turnover compared to North Carolina A&T's 3. So this game was very close, Deuce. It was electrifying. Not as electrifying as Jackson State and Alabama State. I don't think no game was.
Hey, but we did say don't be surprised if North Carolina A&T catches, you know, them off guard because they used to be their rivals.
Yeah, and you know, South Carolina State, you know, they just took care of business in the second half, which caused them to win that game. They struggled in the first half. They didn't score any points in the first half. You kind of have to give credit to North Carolina A&T's defense. They held them throughout the first half. But that second half, South Carolina State made adjustments and, you know, 22 points in the second half. So that was really the key turning points of that game from what I saw and from what I'm reading on ESPN, according to ESPN, that's how that game went. That's basically the take I got from that game. Now, was I able to look at it? No. Sadly, I was not able to find it, but I was able to read and take notes, a little bit of notes. I didn't take much notes, but that was, like I said, the key turning point of that game. South Carolina State just stormed the second half and took this game. Basically, comeback. Basically.
Look, I knew it was gonna be a good game. Hold up 1 second. Because the team I'm looking for next week, South Carolina State, they play Norfolk, 1:00 p.m. on ESPN. Yes, Norfolk is South Carolina State is a better team. But hopefully Deion Sanders can come in. I mean, not Deion Sanders. Michael Vick can come in, put on a show. Hopefully pull a close game, because I think if he just even plays close, that's a win in my books. They may not have to win, but
yeah, that's a win. That's a win in my book too. As a matter of fact, that's a big key turning point for not only Michael Vick but for Norfolk State in general. Hopefully whoever the defensive coordinator is going to be, that they can change the defensive rhythm that Norfolk State gets struggled with, and hopefully they can fix those problems and get Norfolk State back on the right track, which is where they were trying to get this season. I honestly think that Norfolk State can turn the season around, but if they just fix those struggles that I listed not too long ago, starting with the defense. And I feel like if those things are met, I don't expect everything to be met. No team is perfect. No team is going to be able to fix everything. But if they can fix the majority of their struggles, I think that Norfolk State can surprise South Carolina State and possibly surprise a lot of the last few teams on their schedule. Like I said, it really just all is going to determine just how well can Norfolk State finish this season out, on the winning end, on the losing end.
I agree. But before I close this out, next episode we will be talking about Prairie View versus Southern, for a heads up. That probably will be the main headline. Followed by Grambling and probably Arkansas Pine Bluff. Maybe we touch on Alcorn and FAMU. We'll leave that to our fans to choose. But Howard versus Tennessee State will also be the last game that we cover next week. So stay tuned to that. Michael, any games that you are looking forward to next week before we close this out, and any closing remarks before we have to close this?
I can't think of any games that I could be watching for besides Grambling versus UAPB. I will say, let's see. I think South Carolina State versus Norfolk State. That's another game to watch out for. Starting next week. And I think that's all I have. So I got Grambling and UAPB, Norfolk State versus South Carolina State, and Delaware State. Oh man, who are they playing? Let me find that right quick. Because first of all, shout out to Delaware State and Deshaun Jackson, man. They're on the right track right now. In my opinion. Just feel like that football team can actually go somewhere.
It looks like Delaware State has a bye week, but I mean they're coming off a 70-23 win, man. Before they play North Carolina Central when they come back.
That's the most points they've scored, I think, in program history, if I remember correctly. I know it was some kind of record broken with 70 points, but even after that bye week, I'm going to say this now. The game to also be expected on October the 25th, Saturday, will be Delaware State versus North Carolina Central.
And we will be covering that one.
That's the game to look out for. And matter of fact, speaking of North Carolina Central, they dominated the heck out of Florida A&M.
Oh my gosh.
So we would go on that, but we're gonna say that for next week. But I mean, North Carolina Central they didn't play no games with Florida A&M, and 45-7. Ouch. At Florida A&M, Deuce. Ouch, man. That hurt. That hurt, man. Like, Carolina Central is just. I think the MEAC conference is. It's just going to determine who's the most dominant coming out of there, because whoever wins the MEAC conference is going to play in the Celebration Bowl. So that's just what it's going to come down to as far as the MEAC conference. I mean, right now I'm looking at teams like South Dakota State. I think they're 6-0 right now in the MEAC conference, and then also North Dakota State, they're 6-0. So both of those teams could possibly represent. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's not the MEAC conference. What in the world? I'm gonna have to go back and look at that because my bad, y'all. That was computer error. It brought me to the wrong conference. I just realized that. But like I said, the MEAC conference is up for grabs, I believe, and it's just really going to determine towards the end of the season who has the capabilities of winning. Is it North Carolina Central? Is it Delaware State? Is it South Carolina State? It could be any one of them. It could be any one of them. It could be Howard. But I think North Carolina Central is holding on right now by a thread, because Delaware State is right behind them. And I wouldn't be surprised, Deuce, if Deshaun Jackson takes me at conference in his first season. Because like I said before, Delaware State was not in a bad spot compared to Norfolk State before Deshaun Jackson came. And I think they're going to be more and more dominant as the season goes along. And I just wouldn't be surprised, like I said, and I'll say it again, that Delaware State represents me at conference, without a doubt.
I agree. Well, I will say this before I close this out. The season, the SWAC, the MEAC, and just some even smaller HBCU schools, they have surprised us. There's been a lot of surprises, and there's been a lot of upsets. But, I mean, so far, this SWAC season is looking amazing.
Yeah.
It's and MEAC conference too. This is the first time I really started diving into the MEAC, and it's looking incredible. But before I close this out, I will say this: our goal, we just recently eclipsed 700 views on our week 6 video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and thank y'all to that. So now our goal, we try to double it every episode. Our goal is to get us to 900, maybe even 1,000 views. Please help us do that. The comments, keep commenting, comment y'all school, the team y'all support. That it also means a lot. And the like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully, if I have the time, I will get these clips uploaded to YouTube. Follow Inside the Locker Room on Instagram. And Michael, do you have any closing remarks before I close this out?
Yeah. First, let me ask you this question, Deuce. Where are we looking at as far as like giving out our predictions for the HBCUs in next couple?
As of right now, I am still waiting on my content creator to get to it. It's a sad thing because people just got busy schedules. I'm in the band, so I don't have the same schedule as him. But he's working on it, and hopefully in the coming weeks we'll get it set up.
Perfect.
SWAC predictions, and also our players of the week. Like I said before, we have our first player of the week, Jacobian Morgan, posted. That's looking to be posted weekly.
So yeah, y'all stay tuned. Y'all stay tuned for our predictions and stuff like that. I think, Deuce, we've passed that goal of trying to reach 8K. So now I'm gonna say this for me and Deuce and the HBCU podcast in general: get us to 1K. That's the goal now. Appreciate y'all. Like Deuce said, we appreciate y'all for getting us to 700. The support is there. Keep supporting, man. Like I said, we're doing this to help HBCUs. We're not doing this for fame. We're doing this. No other podcast is doing what we're trying to do. HBCUs deserve the spotlight. And like I was saying in the recent comment, that HBCUs need to be uplifted instead of being threatened. And I will say this also. Please, y'all, be careful in your homecomings, because there have been already shootings that have already been reported. Y'all, control yourselves and control your friends, because I don't want to see no one lose a life. because 2 people already done died over there at South Carolina State. We don't need.
We send our condolences and prayers to the family members of the ones that have died too.
Yes. And this ain't just South Carolina State. There have been many other homecoming games that have had shootings. So y'all, please keep your guns away, because you're not only affecting the people around you, but you're affecting your children. And no one wants to see a child get hit by a bullet. Like my mom always say, bullets don't have eyes. So please, don't do it. Don't even do it for me, but do it for the people around you. Do it for university, because no one wants to have tight security. Because my mom just told me Grambling had security so tight, they had other law enforcement from other police departments in Louisiana to come to Grambling just to have security. They had dogs there. So the security now in homecoming games is real tight. So please make sure that you protect each other, stay with each other, and just make it a positive environment. No one has to go ghetto. No one has to go crazy. I mean, what's the point of bringing a gun to a homecoming game, to a homecoming event, unless you are actually trying to say, put the guns away. There is no defense, but put the guns away. Let's have a positive atmosphere. And like Deuce said, prayers to the families who, the 2 individuals and any other individuals at any of these homecoming games that have lost their lives. Because no one deserves to lose their life at a homecoming game. No one. No one deserves to get beat up at a homecoming game. So stay safe, please. But again, we appreciate y'all so much for getting us to 700 views. That means a lot. My heart shot up like a light.
Yep.
Like it's y'all support is helping us just as much as we're trying to help your school get on the map. Because like I said, no HBC, no podcast is doing what we're doing inside the locker room.
Look, and I say this every week. If there's an HBC that you want us to talk about, comment it and we will talk about it.
Yes, comment it, because we're not trying to leave no HBCUs out. We're trying to cover as many teams as we can, but time, I don't know if y'all know, but time is upon us, because Deuce has a lot going on. I have a lot going on. So there are going to be times we're not going to be able to reach every SWAC, every MEAC, or any other conference that we're not going to be able to. But if we do miss them, like Deuce said, comment that team and we will feature them. We'll make sure of that. But again, I don't want to take too much time on this, but my closing remark is stay safe. Thank y'all for y'all support. Our next goal is to get the 1K. Matter of fact, make this episode here. Get this episode to 1K. You can start that right now. And also, predictions starting, I believe, this week, maybe. I could be wrong. But predictions will be put out on who's going to win what. Because, like I said, we're trying to uplift this podcast for HBCUs. And, you know, it's good. We're trying to find more and more ideas. We're trying to get more creative for y'all, so y'all can, you know, feel supported like y'all been supported throughout the previous episodes. So, again, thank y'all. Again, get us to 1K, starting with this episode here. And, you know, we'll start with predictions and stuff like that this week. And we started with our player of the week, and we're looking to continue to do more and more of that. So, again, thank y'all so much for your support. And please keep sharing, because y'all are helping us just as much.
Thank y'all. And as I always say, stay safe and enjoy the rest of y'all's night. Enjoy the rest of y'all's week. And comment in the comment section who y'all want us to talk about and what game of the week surprised you the most.